What's going on, everyone? JK, Josh, coach of the Cinnabar Island Steelix, here for a week 1 matchup against one and only Hoop 99 and the Bumbling Bidoofs. Pardon me while I get this background audio where it should be. I don't want it to be overpowering. There we go. Okay, so we are here. It's doubles VGC 2019 format. Week 1 just opened. Technically, we've got until next week, Sunday the 15th, to get this game in. But Hoop and I said last week that, hey, might as well play early, right? Prepped all week, ran some scrims, got in line. I'm ready for this game like no one ever was. So without further ado, introducing your week 1 Bumbling Bidoof counters, your Bumbling Bidoof stompers, your Bumbling Bidoof burrowers. I don't know. We're hopefully going to beat the Bumbling Bidoofs. But Hoop is no slouch. His team is incredible. And we needed to dive deep into the old memory banks on how doubles is even played, let alone how to team build for it. So let's talk team build. So, okay. I will go through this one by one. There is kind of some sets that are pairs that go together here in true doubles format. But I think we need to just start off with our team captain, Zapdos. Zapdos is offensive week 1. I said in the draft review that Zapdos was going to be a key defensive member for us, and then I turn around and right away in week 1 we're going offensive Zapdos. So I don't know what that says about me and my plans, but here is what we're rocking. It turns out Zapdos has pretty good spread damage across the Hoop's entire team. It doesn't hit anything for like ridiculous damage except for the Primarina and the Landorus, which is why our 2 attacking moves are Thunderbolt and Hidden Power Ice. Thunderbolt with the Electrium Z kills Primarina every single time, even under a light screen. If it protects, obviously it does nothing, but that Electrium Z lets me just one-shot the Primarina, which is really important. And Thunderbolt's just a good move kind of against the rest of his team. And Hidden Power Ice tops out at, depending on the investment of the Landorus, it's either a one-shot kill or it does like 98% damage. Either way, after a fake out, that thing should die regardless, unless it's like Assault Vested defensive Landorus, which I don't think it will be. Tailwind's there for just overall support. We're running some slower boys this week, so any help that we can get on the speed portion of the game is nice to have. And then Detect is there just as a really solid 4th option. I started the week of team prep kind of thinking, okay, yeah, Zapdos is probably the only thing that's going to have Protect on it. Maybe one other thing with kind of a signature move kind of deal. But you'll see there is one other mon that has a Protect type move because it's really important for doubles. And this, especially in game number 2, you'll see why. I guess that's not really spoilers because every match has at least 2 games. But you'll have to wait and see what happens this week. So yeah, back to Zapdos. We're running the pressure ability. We've got 4 EVs in defense, but we've maxed out the special attack and speed. We're modest nature because for me to outspeed his stuff, max speed was just enough, and I'm never going to be faster than things like. Hold on one second. I need to. Take the fill color off of these boys. So I'm never going to be faster than Aerodactyl, right? Just not possible. I'm base 100, that's base 130. I'm always going to be slower. Landorus, however, I have a chance if it's uninvested to be faster, obviously with my max speed, but if it's also max speed, Jolly or Adamant, I think a Jolly Landorus still, I think, outspeeds me, or I'm like 1 point faster. There was a reason why we went modest. Obviously, the Rotom can never be faster than us with our max speed, and that was kind of the deal there. So we are outsped by max speed Jolly Landorus. but we outspeed, max speed, jolly, or timid rolling low. So, and the modest nature helps us kill stuff, which is even more important than outspeeding in the grand scheme of things. So I really like the Zapdos set. It is team captain. Obviously, Lineru is the nickname we're going to rock with. That is the Thunder Dragon from Skyward Sword. So if you've played that game, that's where the inspiration for that nickname comes from. Next up, kind of the lead that I'm planning on regardless for what Hoop brings is kind of Zapdos Torracat for a number of reasons. Number one, Zapdos is just a really good offensive threat that I can either set up Tailwind right away or just fire off a Z move. Torracat helps me kill that Landorus if that's Hoop's lead. So obviously we have Intimidate for our ability here. We're running an Adrenaline Orb, and this is really, really important. So if we're up against a max speed Landorus and and I've got max speed Jolly Torracat right here, I'm going to be just short of outspeeding it. However, after that Adrenaline Orb pops, I am faster than a max speed Landorus, which is really good if I need to fire off a burn or taunt it or whatever it might be. So the Adrenaline Orb is actually kind of a cool item here to go along with our max HP and max speed. Torracat's main job is to be a fast support. Intimidate, taunt, fake out, get out. U-turn's there for the pivot, and Will-O-Wisp is there just in case he wants to get frisky with some kind of physical attacker, right? So like Aerodactyl, Muck, whatever it might be. I really like the Torracat set. It really, really helps to counter what I think will be Hoop's lead in a Landorus plus something else. And then Adrenaline Orb with a sneaky speed boost is really, really nice. So Torracat can fake out the Landorus, and then Zapdos can hit power ice the Landorus, and it should die no matter its investment, and that should give us a leg up if that is the case. Beyond that, Torracat's really good at helping neutralize things like Emboar, Aerodactyl, Muck, Hitmontop, stuff like that. So that's the Torracat for this week. Next up, kind of going with another kind of dedicated pair, is Azumarill. Mary, the Azumarill. Oh, I forgot to talk about Torracat's nickname. Give me 1 second. Eldon is the fire dragon from Skyward Sword. Ta-da! So next up is Mary. I was going for a kind of a Lord of the Rings theme, and I thought of Mary the Hobbit, so Mary the Azumarill. We're running the Citrus Berry Huge Power Adamant Nature Belly Drum set for Azumarill this week. 244 in HP to give me an even number on the HP stat, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, so 244 gets me to 206 HP, so that when Belly Drum pops off, I for sure get the Citrus Berry, and we get the thing that you're expecting from Azumarill, right? So that's gonna happen. I am max HP, and I've got leftovers in special defense to help soak up something. I don't really know what. Azumarill is actually surprisingly bulky. Found that out kind of in this game where I lived some hits a lot better than I thought I was going to, which was kind of nice. But for the moveset, Belly Drum, Aqua Jet with priority, play rough hits, Hitmontop for super effective damage, which will be really good. And it's just a good stab move, and then we've got Knockoff, which does a number to Cresselia, Dusclops, and the Musharna. Excuse me. So I really love the Azumarill, and what's going to make it work is its partner, Togetic. So Togetic, Breezy, just an air-themed nickname. Togetic with that Eviolite and the Serene Grace ability, really just because I didn't need Serene Grace, but that it's there. Max HP, max special defense, a little bit left over in defense, and we're Calm Nature. So we're really built to take special hits from Cresselia, from Primarina, from Rotom-Mow, from Musharna, and just kind of our natural bulk with that Eviolite and max HP. I can live some physical stuff too. Follow Me is what's going to let Belly Drum and Azumarill actually work. If we're lucky enough, we can get a Roost off and keep healing. And then Encore and Tailwind are just also really good support moves. Should I get into a situation where he's trying to like use Trick Room, which is a very big possibility. Hoop's got kind of a slower team. He's got a couple of different things that learn Trick Room. So I kind of have an idea that like, hey, you know, I could just Encore his Trick Room and keep, you know, resetting it or whatever. Or if the Cresselia wanted to set up on me or something like that. We can trap it with that Encore. And then Tailwind's just good for speed boost if we need it to help us Azumarill. Should Aqua Jet be not the right play? So I really love the Togetic set. It's what's going to make Azumarill work if I get it in. And it's just worth its weight in gold. So, and the last two picks here for week one, I just wanted solid offense out of the last two. Not necessarily needing a pair, but just kind of looking at Hoop's team and figuring out like what has the best chance to make a big impact. So that would be number one, Aegislash, with 3 ghost type moves. We're Brave Nature, so kind of playing into that Trick Room setup potential that he might be running. So that's a negative speed nature, and we have max HP, max attack, bulky, you know, positive attack nature, a couple points in special defense to help live stuff, and we're rocking Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, Shadow Sneak, and King Shield. So Ghost type is effective against his entire team. It's stab and it's just good. Shadow Claw is my best physical stab move. Shadow Ball is there in case I get burned and I need to like fight off a Cresselia or a Musharna or something like that, to where the Ghost type move is super effective. Also Dusclops in case it's defensive and I can hit it on the other side. Basically there to just give me a mixed option should I get burned, because my team really sucks if I get my attacking threats burned. So having that kind of mixed capability is really good. And the base 140 special attack is not bad. Shadow Sneak is great for priority, especially if I need to navigate around Trick Room or not being fast enough if I don't have a Tailwind up. And King Shield is just really good for protecting and you know, possibly getting those stat drops. So good, solid option for offense. Hits most of his team really, really hard. And then last but not least, we're bringing Dragonite with a weakness policy. This is just another like really solid offensive option. Multi-scale is a broken ability as far as I'm concerned, and that, you know, HP and attack investment means that I live hits and I hit hard back. A little bit of speed to help out with kind of like some of the lower end threats. I am base 80 speed, so I'm not the fastest boy on the block, but I'm fast enough to where I'm going to outspeed a Cresselia if it's also, you know, it just kind of naturally, right? So Cress is base 85, I'm base 80, I need those 44 points to make sure that I'm going first on a Cresselia that doesn't have any speed investment. So extreme speed, super good for priority, hits everything hard. Dusclops is immune, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, whatever. Dragon Claw's really good stab. I didn't want to run Outrage just in case, because he has the one Primarina for the Fairy type, and he could switch it in and just kind of negate everything that I'm trying to do. Ice Punch is there for Landorus primarily, but it also hits Rotom-Mow and Aerodactyl. And then Protect is just, you know, I originally had Thunder Punch on Dragonite as a fourth move, and after scrims and kind of testing and stuff, I really, I was convinced that Protect was just the better option. So good to have that possibility, and after a weakness policy, Dragonite just destroys things. So I'm excited to use that in this week, and there are ample opportunities for that weakness policy to get popped. You know, Rock Slide from Landorus, Cress's Moonblast, Hitmontop could have a punch move or triple axle. Muck has different punch moves. Dusclops, I don't know if Dusclops gets anything that would like really work for the weakness policy product, but like Primarina, Moonblast, Rotom-O has electric type moves, Aerodactyl's got rock type moves, Emboar can learn Wild Charge, Musharna has, I think, access to some special attacks that could drop my weakness policy. So in conjunction with that multi-scale, I live a super effective hit really, really well, and I can hit back and get a revenge kill, which is super cool. So I'm really excited about everything that I brought this week, and the video is 15 minutes in already, so let's get into the actual games. I've been bamboozled. So this is a 3-game set against Super. I will not tell you who won each game until we get through it, but we did play 3 games. As a review from our team builder, we've got Aegislash, Togetic, Azumarill, Zapdos, Torracat, and Dragonite. Hoop brought the Crust, the Dusclops, Landorus Therian, Primarina, Emboar, and Hitmontop. So right off the bat, I see 2 Intimidate users, a couple of Trick Room setters, and just a really, really scary lineup. But we have a plan, right? So we are going to go with our dedicated Zapdos Torracat lead, see what he does, and kind of go from there. For this first game, I chose Zap, Torracat, Aegislash, and Dragonite. I figured we're going to save the Azumarill Togetic in the back for later if we kind of get into a scenario where I think I can get it off. But that's like a pocket, like punch him in the mouth play. The other 4 are kind of like just rock solid. I didn't want to bring 2 supports in any game, so I don't think Torracat and Togetic are ever going to come in the same round. So Torracat being the 1 support, I pull the other 3 offensive users, and we lead with our dedicated plan to kill the Landorus, which I assume is going to be his lead. And right off the bat, it's not. So already it's kind of a little bit different, and I see he's got a Primarina and a Cresselia. I was not expecting this, but I'm also okay with it because he might be thinking that the Zapdos is bulky and doesn't really have a lot of offense behind it, and I lose nothing by faking out something and then U-turning or doing taunt shenanigans, which actually could be pretty good against this lead. So my plan after all this stuff goes off is I'm going to fake out the Cresselia to make sure that it doesn't do anything funny, and I'm just going to fire off a Z move right away, try and come out swinging from turn 1, and try and kill this Primarina. Hooper makes the great play to protect on turn 1, scout what I'm doing, and our Electric Z pops, and the Gigavolt Havoc does 38%-ish. So not bad damage, but certainly not a kill like I wanted. And now he knows that he knows that my Zapdos is offensive at the very least. He makes a switch into Landorus Therian, and actually we get the Adrenaline pop, which is great. So Torracat's now the fastest thing on the field. And I'm able to get a taunt off on the Cresselia. And Hooper, this Chad, is running Mental Herb on Cresselia. So what that does is it essentially negates my taunt. I forget what Mental Herb actually does, like in the full grand scheme of things, but for the purpose of our game, Mental Herb just makes taunt ineffective. I kind of saw a switch coming, so I wanted to make sure that we got Tailwind up so that Zapdos could also outspeed the Landorus, which I had a feeling was coming in, and that way I can fire off a U-turn and a Hidden Power Ice and kill the Landorus next turn for sure. But he's got other plans, and with that Mental Herb pop, he goes for Trick Room, and then is able to fire off a Moonblast, which Torracat. Holy crap! Eat it up, my guy. Now it is not very effective, but I have no investment in special defense. I mean, like, if at all. Yeah, I have zero investment with this Torracat in special defense, and the Cresselia is probably not super offensive, but I ate that up. And, you know, definitely, like, was a little worried moving into this game, like, hey, Torracat doesn't actually get parting shot. So, like, its usefulness, not as high as I thought it was before I drafted it. Turns out it's still pretty good. So we eat up that Moonblast really, really well, and a Rock Slide comes out. And I didn't even notice this in the first game, or when we played. That was a crit on the Zapdos. But we still living, we still good. And I am able to fire off the Hidden Power Ice and do a ton of damage as well to the Landorus. I'm able to U-turn out with Torracat as the last Mon, the fastest Mon, because it's got the Adrenaline Orb proc, and I also have Tailwind up. But that does let me come out into our boy Aegislash, Narsil, which is the Aragorn's sword from Lord of the Rings. And I'm able to just kind of shadow sneak my way after a detect from Zapdos to protect it, and we're able to knock down the Landorus. So really good turn of events here. I essentially trade all of my Torracat and Zapdos for the Landorus, but we're in a really good spot. After a couple of special type attacks, I'm really just trying to survive through this Trick Room. And we kind of go back and forth. They're able to knock out the Torracat with Scald, Moonblast, and stuff. And my team is in real rough shape here. However, I've got a full HP Dragonite in the back that Hoop hasn't seen yet. And after a Shadow Sneak, I will be able to, number one, kill the Cresselia, die to my Life Orb, get the Dragonite in against this Primarina, and still be really fast. Zapdos has got a little bit of utility left. I can still do something. The Frisk comes out from that Dusclops. I just decide to protect with the Viserion, which is one of the dragons from Game of Thrones. And really just, I'm trying to scout out what Hoop is planning on doing, taking a little bit of a gamble with the Zapdos, and turns out the Dusclops is also a Trick Room setter. Wouldn't you know? So he's got 2 Mons with Trick Room in this game, and I'm really sick of being fast. However, I do have Protect on both of my Mons. Detect for Zapdos, Protect for Dragonite. So I'm going to be able to kind of stall this Trick Room out a little bit. Extreme Speed does a bunch of damage, but shows that he's got a Citrus Berry. Great information for game 2. And the Nightshade comes out and he gets protected. Moonblast, we eat it up, thankfully, because of the multi-scale, which is going to pop our weakness policy. And now, after a Protect from the Siren and a Nightshade that kills Zapdos, I do a bunch of damage to the Dusclops. I'm going to Protect just to stall out the Trick Room turns a little bit. Moonblast comes in, and now I want to E-Speed away the bigger threat to my HP in the Moonblast. And now it's just a slow kind of back and forth with a Trick Room, a Pain Split we see, and one more Dragon Claw is going to be able to finish up game 1 in our favor. So a really, really tight 1-0 victory in game 1. We've got a lot of really good things happening. I think the lead went well, considering he just led with something completely different than what I thought he was going to. The Cress and Primarina lead definitely threw me for a loop. It was definitely not what I expected. However, I think we responded really well, played into our outs, and kind of a lot of really good information from this first game. We found out a couple items. We found out that there is Trick Room on Dusclops and Cresselia, and that the Primarina is most likely just kind of offensive, straight offensive. Landorus, we know, has Rock Slide, so that's a good thing to know. And we also, it lived a Hidden Power Ice, so it's got either HP investment or a little bit in special defense. So all really good things from game 1. And we pop into game 2. and I decide that we're gonna lead similar but a little different, right? So I want Torracat out there for the Intimidate drop. I have to plan for the fact that Landorus is out there, right? So I have to have Intimidate out. But I also know that he's got 2 Mons that are really weak to Aegislash. So having Narsil in the game from the get-go could be really good. Now I am kind of like really opening myself up to a Landorus Intimidate to drop here, but I do have the Shadow Ball for some surprise special attacks. So I feel like this is an okay lead. And then I bring Dragonite and Zapdos again in the back. So same 4 Pokemon, little different lead. He decides to lead Cresselia and Blinky, the Dusclops. So actually, could not have gone better as far as the lead is concerned. We have our Taunt user out, and we've got super effective damage against both Pokemon from the Aegislash. He is able to frisk our items that he already knows because both of these Pokemon popped their items in the last game. I get a Taunt off on the correct Pokemon, thankfully. That was a little bit of a gamble. I went back and forth debating on if he was going to use Trick Room on Cress or on Dusclops. Ultimately, I knew that Cresselia at least had Moonblast. I don't know if I knew that at this point. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But I knew that the Mental Herb was on Cresselia, and I didn't want to pop that just yet. So I figured, you know what? Let's taunt the Dusclops, get the for sure taunt off, and then we'll go from there. And actually, like, just double into the Dusclops with a big Shadow Claw, and that does a ton of damage, which is great. So turn 1 goes extremely well for me, and we're sitting pretty. He makes a swap into Cress again, and I U-turn the Torracat out. I can't really do anything. The Dusclops had already been taunted. I don't need to Will-O-Wisp a Prim or a Dusclops, and I can't fake out because I went with the taunt on turn 1. So just decide to U-turn out, get something else in here, and I go into Zapdos to be able to take on this Primarina. Scald comes through, does a ton of damage, and he gets a burn. So unfortunate. However, Shadow Claw still does some good damage, and I will die to my Life Orb and to burn. So Primarina gets a kill, and I'm able to go into Dragonite, and I just want to double protect. The thought behind this was I would really want to just see what he wants to do. He's either going to set up Trick Room, or he's going to just fire off like double Moonblast into my Dragonite, and I don't really want that. But he also decides to protect and does put up the Trick Room. Extreme Speed does a little bit of damage, and this is the point in time where the light screen is really interesting, right? So I want to just see the double protect comes out. We get a protect from the Prim and a okay. So extreme speed's good, priority's good, whatever. Okay. I figured that the Primarina was either going to swap or try and attack. It just protected last turn, so I wanted to fire off my Z move now in that slot, knowing that though he could have Landorus in the back, but he probably would have brought it in to fight the Dragonite. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I felt like this was as good a time as any to fire off the Z move, and the Primarina put up a light screen, and this Gigavolt Havoc destroys the Primarina, which is phenomenal. I could not have asked for a better outcome there. The light screen does suck, but Dragonite is at full HP and is a physical attacker, so that's fine. I do want to double protect here to just kind of start to stall away the Trick Room turns and also see what this Emperor wants to do. And the Wild Charge Moonblast double into Dragonite is what I feared, and I don't want to die because that's probably enough to kill me. I didn't calc it, but knowing that multi-scale probably saves me to like 2/3 HP, and then another super effective hit, probably not good. So I swap out the Torracat, get the Intimidate off on the Emboar, which is great, and now Wild Charge does less than 50%, which is awesome. We eat up the Moonblast really well, and like Torracat's essentially done now. Like I don't need it for much more than just another Fake Out. Interesting play here. Cool play. Fake Out went first, and the Sucker Punch that the Emboar did to the Torracat actually didn't work, which is really cool. I'm able to get off the Thunderbolt. It's not doing much with the light screen up. So really, it's just kind of waiting for number one Trick Room to be done, so that I can actually go first. But now I have to worry about that Sucker Punch. There is a light screen up, and for Zap, I really, actually take the Sucker Punch fairly well. And we wanted to go in there and just use the taunt to bust the Mental Herb. It's kind of just like a lost cause at this point, right? It's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. In case he doubles into Zap and Torracat lives, I can taunt, we can do whatever. Torracat ends up dying. However, Zapdos is all alone for this portion of like that last turn there. Inconsequential back and forth. Torracat died, was able to kill the Emboar, and now we have a situation where Dragonite and Zapdos have to take on Moonduck and Blinky. I think, in my heart of hearts, that I'm in a really good spot. Number one, I know that this Dusclops probably can't do enough to kill really either of my Mons. It's going to chip away at the Dragonite somehow. The Zapdos has less longevity. But the Moonduck at some point has to pop my weakness policy. So I'm going to get a big hit off at some point and probably be able to do some really good damage and maybe even win. However, after a Protect, just to kind of scout things out and burn the Trick Room, we see the Pain Split Icy Wind comes out. Now that is a little spooky because Icy Wind and Trick Room let Hooper really control the speed here. It will eventually, while he's slower now, be able to, under Trick Room, go first, hit me with Icy Wind, probably live because Cresselia is fat as hell. And when Trick Room's over, all those Icy Wind pops will have my speed probably less than a Crest that has like base in the 80s speed. So really cool tech, plays really, really well into the Trick Room setting, and I have to be aware of that. Pain Split pops off, the Dusclops is able to regain a bunch of health, and Icy Wind comes out and hits both of my Mons for super effective damage, which is not fun, but it does pop my my weakness policy. And at this point in time, I think great. Dragon Claw does a bunch of damage. He probably does not have enough to kill me, but it's not looking good. So we're so close. And at this point, I really, really wish that Extreme Speed take those types. I might want to think about Aqua Jet as another priority move if I ever play Hoop again, just because Dragonite was so close to winning this game, or at least doing some really, really good damage. This play from Hoop was masterful. I double protected to stall out the last turn of Trick Room. I'm still fast enough to where I might outspeed, or I definitely outspeed the Dusclops next turn. Probably don't outspeed the Moonduck, but it depends on its investment. So I'm gonna just straight up protect. And Dusclops uses Haze. And my weakness policy plan is gone. Just gone. Important to note that I am at max HP or max speed now for both Pokemon. So a Thunderbolt does get the job done, but you see how much Dragon Claw does. And with spread damage from Icy Wind being super effective, there's no way I can win this. I just don't do enough damage. Thunderbolt does a good amount. In hindsight, I should have gone for Icy Wind or for Extreme Speed there. It wouldn't have mattered. We do get lucky with an Icy Wind miss. That's a 5% chance. But the Cresselia just is too fat and does just enough damage to where I lose game 2. So 2 games in, tied up 1-1, moving into game 3, and this is it. This is where I go, you know what? We brought the same 4 Pokemon in each of the first 2 games. It's time to swing for the fences. Might as well. I don't think he expects me to bring Azumarill Togetic, and if he does, so be it. We've got a plan. So that's where we're headed. We're gonna bring, for this game, Togetic and Azumarill as a lead. Go for the Belly Drum strat. We're gonna bring Aegislash because it hits his entire team really, really hard, super effective on the Crest and the Dusclops. And we're gonna bring Dragonite, goddammit, because weakness policy and its moves has been doing a lot of work. So, going into game 3, Mary and Breezy up against Blinky and Pumbaa. The Frisk happens, which I don't think is super important. He knows that I'm Eviolite, which what other item would a Togetic run? And Citrus Berry, of course, just a good item. Could mean that I'm Belly Drum, probably means that I'm Belly Drum, but he does find that out. Makes the good switch to pull the Emboar away into the Cresselia so he doesn't get blown up by an Aqua Jet or any water type move. And I click follow me and Belly Drum away. So, as far as turn 1s can go, this is pretty good. Now he did put up the Trick Room, which is a little unfortunate, but not bad. A really good play for Hoot turn 1 would have been to just haze right away. But then, you know, if I stayed in with the Azumarill, like, you know, it would have been just like a dead turn. I like take just as much damage as a shatter, as a shot. God, what is that? What is that move? Nightshade. Oh my god, duh. So, you know, we're in the driver's seat for sure. We get to follow me up, and I went for knockoff because it was going to be enough to kill at +4 attack. I also wasn't sure if I was going to be slower or faster in the Dusclops. I did not calc the speeds, but knockoff does a really good chunk in itself. And the Eviolite's gone. Moonblast comes out and does nothing to Breezy. And I just went for knockoff on the Cresselia as well. So I thought about encoring the Dusclops to reset the Trick Room again. Just could have been a cool trap. Obviously with the switch that fails. But I'm able to knock off a big chunk of damage from the Moonduck and get rid of its Mental Herb for the non-existent Torracat, you know, with its taunt. However, I can encore it now, which is cool. So that's really good. And now I'm free after eating up a Moonblast. 14 to 18%. I don't like. I'm max HP and it's resisted because I think it's resisted. Maybe it's not. It is not resisted. I'm just fat, and the fairy typing, you know, makes it so that doesn't do a ton. Also, this Cresselia is support and not offensive in the least bit. I just kind of go for it again. You know, Wild Charge comes out and does a bunch of damage, but I take this opportunity to Belly Drum again and get to max attack as the Trick Room winds down. Aqua Jet deletes Emboar. I live one more Moonblast, which is really great. I'm able to just kind of Aqua Jet my way to 3 kills with Mary. just Azumarill's awesome. I'm so glad it popped off this week. And you know, Dragonite doing its thing. Priority moves are good when Trick Room is in play. Mary finally goes down, but then at the end it's just the Primarina against Dragonite and Aegislash, and there's no way it can take two at once. Does get another burn, so that's kind of funny, kind of unfortunate. But again, I've got Shadow Ball as a backup, and there's no way that a Dragonite and an Aegislash are going to lose in this situation. And I'm able to get a win against Hoop overall. Really, really close, fun, crazy, competitive three-game set. I could not ask for a better way to start Season 7. I feel like I talked a bunch. Doubles games are going to be a lot, I think, of content to go through, especially with a 3-game set. Like these games are fast. They're not very many turns overall, but holy cow, there's a lot of decisions to make, and a lot of things to think through when you're actually playing. So hats off to Hoop for a great week 1. That team is terrifying, and I do not envy whoever has to play him next, because I think he learned a ton from this first game, and I think he is going to be even harder to prep for. Already brought some really cool stuff. I hope that our first week here is a good showing of what we can do. Hopefully that bumps us up in the power rankings a little bit, and I think we built a really, really good team for this matchup, and I'm really happy that I got to use all 6 Mons. Sad I didn't get to see Hitmontop from Hoop. I think that double Intimidate would have been really good against my team. However, I can see where an Azumarill with a Fairy type move just kind of sneezes and deletes it. So I get it. Also, I could have Flame and Z on the Dragonite, and that would do a lot of damage as well. So bummer that we didn't get to see all 6 from Hoop, but still a super fun game. Super crazy, competitive, really, really tight all the way to the end. Really happy with how we played. I don't think there was any big misplays. I mean, there were definitely a couple of things where it was a coin flip on what I should and shouldn't do, but for the most part, I think we played to our outs. We made stuff work, and we're able to adapt even when things didn't start each game the way I thought they would. I really thought we were going to see a Landorus lead from him, and being unpredictable is really good. So again, hats to Hoop for a great game. He's going to be scary to play every week, so good luck to those that have to play him in week 2. I think we get Noah in week 2, so he was already saying that he was prepping. He played his game last week, so he's already been tinkering with some stuff. So that'll be fun to do in week 2, which will be in probably a week and a half, 2 weeks. We're going to take our time prepping for Noah. So, but we're ahead of the game. Get to start the week off right with a win, and just feel really good about doubles and where we're headed. Still have a long way to go. Still have a lot of work to do, but 1 down, 6 to go.